Oh my God, we are going to have so much fun tonight. You're going to have a chance to flex your psychic muscles and use a tool to look at yourself. Tonight, we're going to be doing a rose reading, a technique that's covered in my primer, Jumpstart Your Intuition, which is a free download at appliedenergeticsinstitute.com. A rose reading is a visual image that lets you look at yourself in relationship to something, how open or closed you are to it, or how much you agree or disagree with it. So get a piece of paper, a pencil, some crayons, some color pencils, and let's get started tonight on Thursday Night Live. Okay, I got nothing. I don't know if the music played, the video wasn't, whatever. Hi, everybody, and welcome to Thursday Night Live. I'm your host, Dr. Rita Louise, and thank you all for tuning into the show today. So we are going to do something fun. So hopefully, while the introduction wasn't playing correctly, you had a chance to go get a piece of paper, a pen, a pencil, some crayons, whatever you have handy. It only needs to be a scrap piece of paper because what we're doing is for your information and your insights and does not have to be perfect. So tonight we're going to be doing a rose reading. And so I'm going to show you my very bad image that I created quickly just to give you an idea. And so this is what a rose reading would potentially look like. There's a rose and then there's a sun above it. And so what I want for you to do, so the sun, okay, and I happen to place mine here, but it doesn't matter because this is all like what you are receiving and what feels good to you. So it might be over in this corner, it might be over on this side. Doesn't matter. It's what feels right to you in this moment. But the sun represents, in this situation, you and your information. And so what I want for you to do is to draw that sun circle on the top of your page somewhere, and then create a rose, again, however it seems right to you, on your piece of paper. So this is my little scrap one, and actually I'm going to do one as far as like where my energy is right now. And so there's the rose. And again, be creative. There might be things around the rose. There might be other energies involved. And then obviously there's the stem for the rose and some leaves that are coming off the stem. This is not how it needs to look. This is just providing you an example. I want you to be as creative as possible because we're going to talk about all of these different elements and what they mean, because what you create tends to be a symbolic representation to what's going on inside. And so again, the circle represents you and represents your information, and create this rose in relationship to your information. And the time starts now. And hopefully I'm going to be able to see. And if you're working with a pencil, you know, we don't think in black and white, we think in color. And so draw the colors of, you know, like picture the colors that you're getting in your head, even if you're using, you know, just a single pencil or a pen. That doesn't really matter because we think in color and it'll still make sense. All right, so I'm doing my picture right now. Sorry if the table's moving around a little bit because I'm coloring here. And see, this will give you an opportunity to create yours as I am doing mine. But see, I have a box of color pencils because I have those coloring books. And so I happen to have these laying around to use. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect. We're not talking about a piece of artwork here. We're just talking about you and your information. And just imagine what that would look like and have that be okay and own that piece of information for yourself. And just do your best to create this representation. Okay. And I'm getting close to being done with mine, if I can find a green. Because, sorry, I am a little anal and stems are always green. But yours doesn't have to be. You know, it's sometimes when you are drawing these elements in, it's like, it just feels like this is how it needs to be and this is where it needs to go. And just honor that and just trust that and allow your hand to do the driving while you're making this creation for yourself. Okay, so I didn't color mine totally in, but it is in color. And so this is the rose that I created for myself. And there's my sun, and there's my rose, and you can see it's pretty open. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 leaves on it. And the stem is kind of warbly, like it didn't feel like it should be straight. And one of the things that I was feeling was that some leaves were starting to come off, like I couldn't draw it clearly, but I felt like the rose was so open that petals were actually starting to fall off. And I'll go over this here in a minute. I just want to give you a chance to finish creating your rose so that we can talk about the different symbols and representations that are found in it. Okay, so I'm going to give you a few more seconds and then we are going to move on and going over the different pieces. Okay. So, and I guess I'll use mine as an example. Okay, so the sun, you know, we talked about you in relationship to your information. So the sun represents in this situation your information. But you can also use this rose reading to look at how much effort am I putting into something, or how much permission I feel to do one thing or another, or am I, excuse me, am I in agreement to a certain situation? And then draw your rose in relationship to that topic. So our topic tonight was our information. And when I talk about our information, what I'm really talking about, and it's something that we have discussed on this show, you know, infinitely, is hearing the voice of God, connecting to our higher self, you know, connecting to our internal information that is guiding us along in life. Okay, so I'm just going to say time's up, pencils down. And so if, as an example, this is like messing my lighting, so I'm having a hard time with it. Okay, so here's your sun. And so there's the rose, and I'm going to put this down because I can't hold and talk at the same time. So the rose actually represents you. And when you look at what you've created, where is the sun? Where is your information in relationship to your rose? Is it facing the rose, like mine is facing the rose, or is it turned away? Or maybe it's drooping, and not really looking at that information. So if it is going and facing the sun, that means that you're seeing it and there is acknowledgement of it. If it's facing the other direction, it means that you're not looking at it, that you're not paying attention to it, or that there's a certain amount of denial going on because your back is turned to it. Your energy is turned away from you and your information. If it's drooping, it's a very similar thing, that maybe it's not that you're turned away from it, but you're just not really receiving it. In mine, I talked about how I had some petals coming down. So in my mind, my rose was really open, like I want to say almost dying. But the feeling that I have from it is that I'm going through a big transformation, and the old me is being released so that a new me, a new bud can come in. And again, how open or closed is that rose? Is it just a little bud looking at the sun or looking away from the sun? Is it open? And how open is it? So let me ask you this, and whether you're looking at the picture, but ask yourself, how open is this rose? And give it a percentage number. Is it 10% open, 50% open, 70% open? I mean, when I check with mine, it's like 85% open to me receiving my information. But it also felt kind of tired, like it was ready to move into a new energy and new dynamic. So what is this rose saying to you? Does it have a message for you? What kind of feelings were coming up or thoughts were coming up as you were drawing it or as you are looking at it at this point in time? So I don't really sit there and talk about like the color of the rose per se, but what color was it? Why were you, and if you drew with a pencil or a pen, what color came to your mind? Is there a significance to the color that you selected or that came into your awareness? And reflect on that for a second, about the color. And as you look at that rose, how does it make you feel? What comes up for you as you interact with that representation of yourself in relationship to your own energy? Great. So now let's move on to the stem. And this is where it gets kind of fun. So the stem represents how long you've actually incarnated on the earth. And so if the stem goes all the way to the bottom of the page, that means that you've been incarnating for a very, 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 very long time. And potentially since, humanity has been on earth, or I've actually worked with some people where they actually were here as a soul prior to the development or the creation of mankind, but were in lower level species here on the planet. And so that's what that represents. And so maybe ask yourself, when was this time? When did I start incarnating on this planet? And be open to any weird thing that might happen to come into your mind as you ask yourself that question. And then there are the leaves that are on the stem. So the leaves represent past lives that you are actually utilizing in the present moment. And so on mine, I had 5. And where they are placed on your stem represents where they are in your timeline on this earth. So it's not that you've only had 5 past lives or 3 past lives or 4 past lives. It means that these are the ones that I'm actually utilizing the information in this present moment or in this lifetime to direct and guide and steer me forward. And you can't sit there and meditate or tune into or check into, where they are on the stem and into the leaf itself. And perhaps a past life will come up for you. And again, when you do this work, it seems very strange and like you're making things up, but that is you tapping into that information. And again, you can use this rose reading to look at where you are in relationship to anything. You can use it on a daily basis. You can use it on a periodic basis. It's really up to you, but I think it's a cool and fun tool to play with. And it's a fun tool to play with other people so that you can practice how good, like if you're open to your information. I mean, I did rose reading when I first started doing psychic readings at shows. I would do rose readings, and they were always very, very popular. So try one on your husband or your wife or your kids or a friend, because they're fun and they get to take like a little drawing with them to represent their rose reading. So I hope you enjoyed that. I hope that this came over the airways as a useful tool for you. I just thought it would be fun to do something completely different today. And I am so glad that I did. And I hope you give me some feedback as to whether this translated into this on-air type scenario. But before I move on and open up the chat lines, I just want to remind you of some of the new things that we have going on here. So, no, that needs to go away. That needs to go there. Okay, so if you go to soulhealer.com/live, there are a few options that you can do. If you think there's going to be a lot of people ahead of you in line, you can jump the line, which would mean that you would be the next person in line that would be getting their reading. If you have a specific question that you would like to ask me, like, I don't know, whatever you might want to ask, you can ask Dr. Rita, or you can go there and leave a tip. And you can access all of this by going to soulhealer.com/live. Okay. All righty, let me shuffle these cards and we will get this party started. All right, let's see. So the first one in the house is Marco. Hey, Marco. And he said, upvoted. Rita, you look hot, great hair and lips. Thank you, Marco. Always wonderful to see you. And it's been a while, so really super nice to see you. ERRT Radio says, hi, Dr. Rita. Happy Thursday. I hope you're doing well and that your internet is behaving. So far, so good. And your hair looks amazing as always. Thanks, ERRT Radio. And then he says, stop it. I have a reading number 3. Please, thank you. You sure can, ERRT Radio. And I have to tell you guys, so I was kind of getting ready for the show, and I was sending somebody a link, and I saw all of these comments in the chat, and I freaked out because it was 6:15, and I'm like, wait a minute, I don't start till 7 o'clock. And so you kind of freaked me out a little bit by getting here. So, I mean, I love you and I appreciate that you get here so early, but oh my God, you scared me. All right, I'm not counting. So ERT Radio, this is your shuffle right here. All right, and that's your card for today. So ERT radio, I just get the impression that there's just been a lot going on around you. And it has been, I'm going to say overwhelming, maybe not quite overwhelming, but there's just been a lot going on. And I feel like there's part of you that is looking for that quiet din inside. I feel like it's been a little challenging for you to find that place. I mean, I think just kind of turning things off and tuning out might be the easiest way for you to get there, even if that might be a little uncomfortable. But I feel like you need to make some separation from what's going on around you in the world. Primarily, I'm feeling electronically. So I hope that makes sense and helps. Okay, and we have Christine. Christine, hey, and she says, how are you doing? May I have a reading number 3, please? And thank you. You sure can. All right, Christine, let's see what you got for me today. Okay, and that's your card for today. So Christine, when I look at your energy, so I don't know if something just happened and you have some anxiety about it, or if you are having anxiety about something that is coming up. I'm feeling like there's a certain amount of catastrophizing, that's tied to it, and which is leaving you a bit unsettled. And I would like to just suggest that you acknowledge those emotions, that you acknowledge the feeling, acknowledge the anxiety. We can't change what's going on and we can't change the future, but we can change how we interact with it. And sometimes when we know, like, God, I just really feel like something funky is going to happen, and we just accept, okay, something funky is going to happen. It makes it so that when the funky thing happens, it's not nearly as funky. We get ourselves out of that cycle of worry and anticipation and more into the like, okay, I keep getting the vibe that something funky is going to happen. Okay, lay it on me, universe. Just lay it on me. All right. All right, let's see. That was Christine. We got Unar. Good evening, Dr. Rita and friends. I'm feeling 2 tonight. Thanks. You sure can, Unar. All righty, let's see. Ooh, pretty card. Okay, Unar, that's your card for today. So Unar, I just get the impression that, unlike Christina, who is in a little anxiety about what's going on, you're more like, and not really caring. Hang on one second. It's interesting because I feel like you have been finding joy, weird as this may sound, in some of the disturbances that have been happening to you lately, because you are feeling like it has been a really good growth period for you. And there's a recognition that as you move through these challenges, the person that comes out on the other side is going to be bigger, better, stronger, and faster. So great attitude to have. I feel like, you know, you just really are connected with yourself. So keep up the good work. And Ricky's here. Hey, Ricky. And he says, good evening and happy early Friday weekend wishes for you, Dr. Rita. You're looking lovely as always. Thank you, Ricky. As always, your hair looks amazingly fabulous. May I have a number 3, please? Thank you very much. You sure can, Ricky. All right. God. Okay. So, Ricky, that's your card for today. Okay, so is it me, or has it, like, this just been like a weird, challenging week? I'm feeling like you guys have all been impacted by it. I know I have been impacted by it. Okay, so Ricky, what they're telling me in very, very simplistic terms is don't take it personal. I get the impression that there are things going on around you and people are being funky, but it doesn't have anything to do with you. It has to do with them and their own crap. And so even though you may think or suspect that it is about you, or you're doing something, or, you know, you're somehow involved in this, you're not. You know, you might be the face on it, but you're really not the cause of the whole situation. So take a step back, allow them to do what they're going to do, and just own your space, because I don't feel like you've done anything that that you should worry about. You know, and just like work on having good energy. Okay. And Ahora's here. Hi, Ahora. And she says, I think Dr. Rita will instruct us with the practice from last week. Do you have a pen and paper and color ready? And you are right on. You must have been having like a little psychic moment there, Ahora. All right. And you are repeating. Let's see. Okay, so Ahora, Yvonne jumped in front of you and she says, hi, Dr. Rita, can I get a reading number 2? And you sure can, Yvonne. Okay, and that's your card for today. So Yvonne, what I want to communicate with you, I feel like there is some choices that are being presented to you, a path moving forward. And I'm not making commentary on the path one way or the other. The biggest message that I'm getting for you is that you need to take a pregnant pause here. You know, you need to ground yourself, meditate, do some tapping, you know, find the present moment, find some clarity within yourself. And then from that place, look to see if this path moving forward is correct for you. Again, not making commentary about the path one way or the other, because they are not giving me that bit of information. The biggest thing is that they want you to take a step back and clear your energy so that you can make an informed decision from source about this whole thing. Okay, hope that helps. Then Horace says, ho, ho, Dr. Rita, new hairstyle. Looks very nice on you. And awesome lipstick. Low and cheers to you. And then Yvonne says, hi, all. All right. And Eric's here. Hey, Eric, nice seeing you. Welcome to the show. ERRT Radio said, where are the thorns? You know, if you wanted thorns on your roses, you're more than welcome to have them. And actually, in doing all of those readings, every so often, thorns would appear, but not all that often, just sometimes. And for me, when thorns would appear, many times they would come up because the person is protecting themselves or using it as some kind of defense against what's going on. So great comment. Okay. Bart says she's not having a good connection. We'll come back. All right. Thanks for teaching us the technique and the interpretation. May I have a reading, please? Number 3. Thank you, indeed. Blessings and cheers to you. You sure can, Aurora. Okay, and let's see what we've got going on. And oops, sorry. There was Ohura. Sorry. All right, but I'm taking you back off. And that's your card for today. Okay. So, Ohura, this is really an interesting, what's coming to me is very interesting. I get the impression that you are tired of trying to, and I'm going to say conform yourself to what society says, what other people say, what you think is the right and appropriate thing for you to do. I feel like you have struggled to, I'm going to say, fit in the mold, but you're realizing it's not really working for you and you're not being able to be your authentic self. And so you are moving to this place where it's like, I don't really even care anymore. I'm just going to be me. And really all we have is ourselves. And so congratulations on becoming Ohura, our girl. All right. And Terrence is here. Hey, Terrence, nice to see you. And Don, and he says, hey, Dr. Rita, hi, I'm here. Could I still get a reading, please? Number 3. And you sure can, Don. Uh-oh, Don, what are you doing? Okay, so for anyone that's new here or listening in the background, so this is called a mask card. And usually when one of these comes up, it means that you are not looking at your information, that there's some energy that's blocked, that you're in denial, etc., etc., etc. And I usually will pull cards, oh, Don, till I feel it clears. Okay. All right, Don, you kind of had a lot of cards. Not bad cards. I mean, I feel like the cards that came up were really kind of talking about struggle. But this is where you ended up. So sitting underneath that, I feel like you keep battling with yourself and what you think you're supposed to be or how things are supposed to be with these expectations of you and your life and how the world is supposed to be. And I feel like that is getting in the way of you just experiencing yourself and the reality of who you are as an individual. And the reality is that you're weird. I mean, we're all weird. If you're tuning into this show, you're weird. So I'm not like pointing my finger at you and saying, Dawn, you're weird and we don't like you. You know, but you are, okay, I'll use a different word. You are unique and unto yourself. And it's time for you to just honor that uniqueness and honor the energy that you carry in this world, so that you can start loving yourself unconditionally without judging yourself. That is bad. So based on, you know, you coming here regular, I haven't seen your energy so funky in kind of a while. So acknowledge this phase, acknowledge this period. And it's okay. We all have moments where we have bad brain, and maybe you're just having a bad brain day. And again, the energy this week has been funky, 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 funky. And so I think everyone is being affected by it, which includes you too, Dawn. So don't beat yourself up over it, okay? So Margie said that it was really neat. And then Yvonne says, I wish I could see everyone's. Yeah, me too, me too. And then ERT Radio says, I like that, Dr. Rita. Right on point as always. Thanks, ERT Radio. Christine says, I have a job interview on Monday that I always wanted, but I got news today. I have knee surgery in a week. Okay. So I'm feeling like they can both be true statements. I feel like, you know, you can go to your job interview in a great place. Okay, so let's talk about your knee. So I usually don't do this. Usually you need to like go to the Ask Dr. Rita. Wait, I'm going to put this up on the screen. You know, Ask Dr. Rita to get a question, but I'm going to respond to you, Christine, because I just want to. I just want to. I feel like your knee surgery is going to be kind of like a not really big deal. You know, you're having the job interview, but it's not like they're going to want you to start working the next day. So I do feel like you have a window. You will have a window in there to get in a certain amount of recovery. You know, if with this surgery, you have to go around on crutches. So you have to go around on crutches for a little bit till it fully heals. But I really don't feel it's going to be a showstopper. So don't worry about the timing of the two things being so close together. All right. And then O'Hara says, Dr. Rita, amazing. Your first rose drawing was just like the one I drew last week. Cool. Very cool. And then Ricky says, thanks you so much, Dr. Rita. Yes, I am the positive energy projecting rays of sun. Perfect. All right. And then Unar says, thanks again for the great reading. Yes, I've been feeling stress-free and unafraid. Good job. And then Ricky says, thanks so much, Dr. Rita. You're the best. Thanks, Ricky. Uh-oh, Dawn. Okay, I've fallen out of favor again of the world. And you haven't, Dawn. It's just that you, it just is. Okay, let's see. Okay, so we have a question from O'Hara. And the question is it possible, I would love to have your help to know about where I will live in a few years. I will stay in US or will I move back to Iran? Which would be better for me in the next few years? You know, that's kind of a big window there, O'Hara. Okay. I wish I had like a whole lot to elaborate on this, but they are saying that you are going to end up going back to Iran. And not right away, but I'm feeling like down the road in that 3-year window, in more local time. I mean, I feel like where you're at now, you can stay there. I also am getting, again, maybe in a couple of years, there might be another US move for you. But I feel like you're just not like totally vibing here. And that you would feel better. You would feel more, I'm going to say, at home by going back home. But you still have to tune into the show because we will miss you if you don't. Okay, so wow, I'm already at the bottom of the list. So anybody have any comments about the exercise that we did? Did it work? Doing it on air, did you guys feel like you got some insights into yourself and your information? I'll just wait for a second for you guys to respond. Okay. Yeah, so, and if you would like to learn some additional exercises, like that rose reading, I think the rose reading transferred to doing it better on screen. The other one, some of the other ones are a little more complicated. Not that they're complicated, but they're hard to do like in this moment. You can't really get the answer in this moment. But if that's something that you would like to do, please do go to appliedenergeticsinstitute.com. That's appliedenergeticsinstitute.com and download my free 50-page guide, Jumpstart Your Intuition, and to get you started on your path to becoming a medical intuitive counselor, or certified energy medicine practitioner. All right, so let's see. We got a couple of comments. And then ERRT Radio says, thank you, Dr. Rita, for a great show and topic. And then Unar says, sorry, came in late. I will try after the show. Okay, great, Unar. All right, guys. You guys seem to be done, so I am going to go. I'm Dr. Rita Louise. This is Thursday Night Live. Till next week, be blessed.